No less than 7 military air arms in the approach to the millennium used the Harrier jump jet worldwide. But in the 1960s, it was touch and go as to whether the Harrier project would ever see the light of day. The Harrier story is one of indecision, political intrigue, and military disagreements. The Spanish were one of the few nations to have believed in the capabilities of a truly remarkable aircraft, but even they had problems in equipping their navy with the aircraft of their choice. Originally, the Spanish looked to Britain for the machines. But as there was a military embargo against Spain under its dictator Franco, so he was forced to buy from the American McDonnell Douglas Company. Such was the political situation at that time. Again, as so often has happened throughout the history of aviation, Britain was to be the loser. The Spanish version of the AV-8B isn't called Harrier at all. It's aptly named Matador. In 1996, 4 of Spain's Matadors were scrambled for a daring attack from their base on the aircraft carrier Principe d'Asturias. Their mission was to find a British warship somewhere in the North Sea, sink it, and return to base in one piece.
The second barrier is also at a bird of green 4-5 from 8 miles out to 30 miles plus.
As the Matadors approached, the crew on board HMS Campbelltown prepared for action.
First aircraft, green 80, guys, that's fine. Continue ready. Start battery, aircraft bearing green. Start green, 70. Shift target left.
Of course, this was just an exercise, but it had to be made as real as possible.
We always have an annual exercise in the North Atlantic involving most of the Atlantic nations with their armed forces, their navies, their air forces. It's extremely important and very valuable.
In fact, both the Matadors and the Tornadoes were doing their impersonation of Exocet missiles being fired from long range, and in reality, the cruiser would probably have shot them down. The Matadors all returned safely to their base under the watchful eye of Rear Admiral Lorenzo, who was AC Task Force.
And the world has changed, so the exercise scenarios change. The current exercise reveals that. What we're practicing is NATO's crisis management procedures, how to prevent war rather than how to fight it.
In the 1990s, the recurrent theme is the prevention of war, which means that the role of the Harrier, or in this case the Matador, has changed radically since Chief Test Pilot Bill Bedford first rather heavily landed the embryo P-1127 on the deck of HMS Ark Royal back in 1963.
When we landed aboard Flag Off for Aircraft Carrier said in 1963, the thing that impressed me most was the complete absence of fright on the part of the spectators. Normally new airplanes come on board bigger, heavier and faster, and here was a reversal of the trend.
The Royal Navy wasn't too impressed. Since those early days, all the techniques of landing and flying the Harrier have smoothed out into a thoroughbred of the air. The Harrier too can literally land on a sixpence very smoothly. In this modern world, exercises like this are designed to keep pilots, ground crews, seamen, and the thousands of backup personnel in the peak of readiness.